At 10 o'clock at night, the noodle shop closes, but China's National Highway 105 is still awake. Trucks carrying timber, cement, and steel continue through a small town in southwestern Shandong. A few doors away from shops selling menswear and funeral supplies, a blue sign makes an extraordinary promise. This place is trying to become the cheapest internet cafe in the country. Inside, the room glows red, green, blue, and pink. More than 100 men sit beneath the lights of gaming computers. Some are playing, some are working. Some have wrapped themselves in thin blankets and fallen asleep with headphones still around their necks. 35 computers in this cafe cost just 0.6 yuan per hour, roughly 8 or 9 American cents, depending on the exchange rate. Stay online for a full day and the computer costs 14.4 yuan. Add a 10 yuan communal meal, and the minimum daily budget comes to about 25 yuan, or less than 4 US dollars. The owner provides basic showers and laundry without an additional charge. Gaming chairs recline far enough to become beds. People arrive with backpacks, suitcases, debts, injuries, broken relationships, or only a few hundred yuan remaining. Some stay for 10 days, some stay for a year. This is still a licensed internet cafe. It is not an official homeless shelter, a hotel, or a welfare office. But for a small group of people who have fallen through the spaces between work, family, and housing, it has become all three. How can a business charge less than the probable cost of electricity and survive? Why would someone travel hundreds of kilometers to live in front of a computer? And is this place helping people rebuild their lives, or making it easier to postpone life indefinitely? This is the story of China's 9-cent internet cafe, and the minimum cost living system growing around it. The phrase 9-cent internet cafe creates an image of an entire building offering unlimited luxury for almost nothing. The reality is more complicated. The cafe has around 150 computers, but only 35 belong to the 0.6 yuan zone. If those seats are occupied, customers may pay 0.9 yuan or choose machines costing between 1 and 3 yuan per hour. At the opposite end is a private room charging 99 yuan for a day. The cheapest seats are therefore not the whole business. They are the front door. The owner, whom reports identify as Lao Wang, had operated the cafe for more than a decade. The business was struggling. Computers are expensive, depreciate quickly, and must be upgraded to run new games. A machine bought for a large sum may lose a substantial share of its value within a year. Meanwhile, a newer cafe can open nearby with faster graphics cards and take the customers. Lao Wang had tried other businesses, including a supermarket, and lost money. He sold his car and went to Beijing to work as a substitute driver, taking intoxicated customers home in their own vehicles. He worked punishing hours and sometimes used internet cafes as cheap places to rest. When family responsibilities brought him back to Shandong, he faced a choice: close the cafe or find a reason for customers to return. His answer was the 0.6 yuan zone. At that price, the seats themselves lose money. But empty computers earn nothing, and empty cafes sell no food or drinks. The cheap zone attracts customers. When it fills, some move to higher-priced machines. Others buy instant noodles, cigarettes, and beverages. A full room creates social media content, and social media videos bring more visitors. This is not simple charity and not ordinary capitalism. It is cross-subsidy, family labor, live streaming, personal debt, and kindness combined into one unstable business model. Lao Wang's wife and relatives help prepare meals and run the cafe. The family cannot afford a normal staff for every shift. The owner cleans toilets, restocks refrigerators, wipes keyboards, repairs machines, serves customers, collects payments, films videos, and picks up his children from school. The cheapest seat in the house is possible because somebody else absorbs the missing cost. Sometimes it is a customer buying a more expensive session. Sometimes it is a viewer sending a live stream gift. Sometimes it is the owner extending credit. And very often it is his family's unpaid time. What does life here actually look like? There is no formal check-in time. A newcomer may have discovered the cafe through a short video, watched the owner's live stream for several days, and finally decided that the offer is real. People have reportedly traveled from Hebei, Anhui, Sichuan, Jiangsu, Qinghai, and even farther away. They arrive because the arithmetic is difficult to ignore. 24 hours at the cheapest computer costs 14.4 yuan. At midday, the owner's family prepares a communal meal for around 30 or 40 people. 10 yuan buys a meat dish, a vegetable dish, and enough rice or steamed bread to feel full. If someone cannot afford lunch, they may remain silent when the owner asks who wants to eat. In this cafe, silence has sometimes been interpreted as yes. The meal is counted and payment can wait. The facilities are basic. A simple shower provides hot water. A large washing machine handles heavy clothes. Laundry hangs from lines on the roof. Personal possessions collect behind chairs. Bottled water, clothes hangers, blankets, plastic bags, and chargers. Some customers sleep directly in reclining gaming chairs. Others rent extremely cheap rooms nearby, sometimes for only a few hundred yuan per month. Privacy is limited. Healthy sleep is difficult under fluorescent lights, keyboard noise, cigarette smoke, conversations, game effects, and people moving at every hour. Yet compared with sleeping outside, the cafe offers safety from rain and cold, electricity, a toilet, a place for possessions, and the ability to remain indoors without being asked to leave every few hours. It also offers something less visible, continuity. A person with no apartment may still have the same seat, the same login, the same online contacts, and the same people around the counter. The chair is not a home, but it creates a routine. Morning and evening lose some of their meaning in a 24-hour room. The important clock is digital, when a gaming order arrives, when a server resets, when a live stream audience is active, and when the balance on an account is about to run out. Life is reduced to the next payment, the next meal, and the next sleep. That reduction can feel frightening. It can also feel like relief. The men who stay here are often described online as people who simply refuse to work. Some do reject available factory or delivery jobs. The owner has reportedly introduced customers to day labor, including warehouse sorting and temporary factory work. Many decline because of poor health, physical exhaustion, dislike of strict management, or a desire to avoid returning to workplaces they found unbearable. But the distinction between work and not working becomes strange inside the cafe. Several residents earn money through games. They level up other people's accounts, obtain virtual items, accompany paying players, stream old fighting games, or complete repetitive in-game tasks. An experienced player may earn enough in one day to cover food and internet access. On a bad day, there may be no order at all. One long-term resident, identified in reporting as Akyang, had been living in the low-cost zone for almost 11 months. His broader pattern of internet cafe living had lasted much longer. He made money in an older online game by operating across several servers. A full day could mean around 12 hours of repetitive activity. When prices inside the game were favorable, he might earn more than 100 yuan. When demand was weak or he slept too long, the income could fall sharply. This is not leisure in the usual sense. The digital economy has its own class system. Wealthy players pay for progress, prestige, rare equipment, or entertainment. Streamers and guild managers occupy a middle layer. At the bottom are workers who exchange hours of attention and repeated mouse movements for small payments. The game becomes a factory without a physical production line. There is no supervisor standing behind the chair, but the market still creates discipline. A customer expects an account to reach a target. A platform demands regular content. A game update changes the value of virtual goods. Newer games require faster reflexes or create forms of motion sickness that older workers cannot tolerate. Someone may leave a factory because the work feels repetitive and controlled, then spend 12 hours repeating a digital task because it offers one crucial advantage: personal control over when to begin, pause, or stop. The pay may be unstable. The work may have no contract, insurance, promotion, or long-term security. But nobody checks a resume, asks about a missing employment history, or demands that the worker explain why he left his family. To start, he only has to log on. It is tempting to turn residents into a single social type. Unemployed young men who play games all day and call their withdrawal from society lying flat. That description is convenient and often wrong. The people reported at this cafe range from their early 20s to middle age. Some lost businesses, some accumulated debt. Some suffered injuries that made physical work difficult. Some came after divorce or conflict at home. One needed to send money toward an elderly parent's care. Another had interrupted stable work to care for the relative who raised him. Some are escaping responsibility. Others are carrying responsibilities that cannot be seen from the chair. One resident known online for playing the King of Fighters 97 had once worked in trade in Foshan and earned a good income. Business losses, gambling debt, leg operations, a fractured marriage, and his mother's declining health changed the calculation. He sold possessions, left a more expensive city, and traveled by slow train to Shandong to reduce his monthly costs. At night, he performs for a live stream audience. Winning attracts viewers. Losing can also attract viewers if the failure is entertaining enough. Childhood skill becomes adult content production, and humiliation can become part of the product. Another resident may barely speak to anyone. He puts small earphones into his ears, covers them with the cafe's larger headset, and creates 2 layers between himself and the room. From outside, these lives can look identical: a man, a screen, and an endless game. From inside, one person is trying to pay for parent. Another is hiding from creditors. Another is recovering from burnout. Another has lost confidence that long-term planning leads anywhere. That last feeling may be the most important. Plans require faith in cause and effect. Work for several years, save money, start a business, buy a home, support a family. When layoffs, illness, failed investments, wage theft, family conflict, or debt repeatedly destroy those plans, the future begins to feel fictional. The cafe offers a smaller promise it can actually keep. Pay for today, and today is covered. This way of living did not begin in Shandong. Years earlier, a district of Shenzhen became associated with the sand gods, a loose and often stigmatized label applied to mainly male migrant workers living through day labor. The surrounding urban village created an ecosystem of labor agencies, cheap hostels, noodle stalls, second-hand phones, and 24-hour internet cafes. A person could take one day of temporary work, then survive several days on the wages. The internet cafe provided both entertainment and something close to accommodation. The Sanhe story became famous because it appeared to invert China's development ideal. Instead of working continuously, saving, buying property, marrying, and moving upward, these workers minimized both labor and consumption. But researchers have warned against treating everyone in such spaces as one subculture. Some actively reject conventional ambition. Some are trapped by missing identity documents, debt, addiction, weak family ties, or unstable labor. Some are merely passing through. The same person may move among all three conditions over time. The 9-cent cafe represents a newer version of this low-cost ecosystem. It is no longer located beside one famous day labor market. Social media performs the recruiting. A short video reaches a struggling man in another province and tells him that a cheaper life exists hundreds of kilometers away. Live stream viewers then subsidize parts of that life. Online customers provide game-playing orders. Residents produce new videos that attract new residents. The internet cafe is not merely connected to the digital economy. Its shelter, labor, charity, and customer acquisition all run through the same network. China had about 125 billion internet users by the end of 2025, according to the China Internet Network Information Center. Internet penetration had reached just over 80%, and almost everyone online used mobile access. So why do internet cafes survive? Because they no longer sell simple access to the internet. In the 1990s and early 2000s, a cafe offered a connection many households did not have. Today, a smartphone can handle communication, payments, video, shopping, and ordinary browsing. The modern internet cafe instead sells hardware, high-speed gaming, social atmosphere, climate control, electricity, and permission to occupy a seat for a long time. At the expensive end, the industry has moved towards stylish sports arenas and gaming hotels with private rooms and powerful computers. At the cheapest end, the chair itself becomes the product. Recent reporting, citing industry and government data, said the number of internet cafe operators had increased, while average revenue per location declined between 2024 and 2025. More cafes do not necessarily mean healthier businesses. Owners may compete for price-sensitive customers while equipment costs continue rising. The Shandong Cafe survives by discovering a group the premium esports model overlooks, people who need time and space more than luxury. Its low price is also a social media spectacle. A normal cafe charging 3 yuan per hour is invisible. A cafe charging 6 yuan becomes a national story. Attention then becomes revenue, but attention is unreliable. Live stream gifts can disappear. Audiences get bored. Platforms change algorithms. Charity often follows a moving camera, while rent, electricity, equipment loans, and family labor continue after viewers leave. The strongest defense of the cafe is simple. People need somewhere to go. Formal shelters may have rules, stigma, limited capacity, identity requirements, or separation from the online work and social contacts a person uses to survive. Renting a room requires money up front and sometimes a deposit. Returning home may mean shame, conflict, or obligations the person cannot meet. The cafe asks for 60 cents of a yuan and offers a seat immediately. That low barrier can prevent a temporary crisis from becoming something worse. A person can sleep, wash clothes, eat, recover, find small work, and decide what comes next. There are reported examples of people leaving. One former office worker stayed for about a month and a half, then took basic electrical work before returning to teaching. Others move into security, delivery, factory, or service jobs. The strongest criticism is equally simple. Survival can become comfortable enough to repeat, but not secure enough to build upon. Game work rarely produces a resume, benefits, durable savings, or a path toward stable housing. Poor sleep harms health and judgment. Social isolation deepens. Debts continue outside the cafe. A person can remain busy for 12 hours without becoming closer to leaving. The owner has seen both outcomes. He wants the cafe to be a transition, not a destination. But he cannot force adults to accept jobs, return to families, seek treatment, or imagine a future. There are also limits to private kindness. Credit may never be repaid. Customers can deceive one another. Food preparation requires licenses and safety controls. Vulnerable residents may be exposed through live streams. A business owner is not trained to provide mental health care, addiction treatment, legal advice, or social work. Calling the cafe a beautiful community can romanticize deprivation. Calling its residents lazy can erase the injuries, failures, labor conditions, and weak support systems that brought them there. The honest description is less satisfying. This is an improvised response to problems it cannot solve. The price displayed above the computer is 6 yuan per hour. But that is not the true cost of the chair. The true cost includes an owner cleaning 5 toilets in the morning, a wife preparing food for dozens of people, relatives contributing money, more profitable computers subsidizing old machines, viewers sending digital gifts, and customers accepting almost no privacy. It includes postponed medical care, irregular sleep, uncertain income, and years that do not appear on an employment record. The cafe is cheap because money is not the only currency being spent. Time is being spent. Health is being spent. Family labor is being spent. So are pride, attention, and stories of personal failure packaged for online viewers. Yet it would be wrong to conclude that the cafe has no value. For a person arriving with 100 yuan, the difference between an imperfect seat and no seat is enormous. A shower can restore dignity. A shared meal can interrupt isolation. A week without rent pressure can create enough mental space to make a decision. The most revealing detail is not the price of the computer. It is the range of time people remain. 10 days means emergency accommodation. 45 days may mean recovery. 11 months means the emergency has become a way of life. That transformation is not caused by gaming alone, and it cannot be reversed by telling someone to work harder. It requires employment people can physically sustain, wages that support housing, portable social protection, accessible treatment, and ways to fail without disappearing from society. Until those systems reach everyone, informal places will continue filling the gap. Some will be temples, railway stations, bathhouses, fast food restaurants, or 24-hour shops. And some will glow all night beside a highway, where a person can check in, log on, and stay for months. The blue sign says this may be China's cheapest internet cafe. The people sleeping beneath it reveal something more expensive: the human cost of having nowhere else affordable to pause. If you found this story meaningful, tell us what the cafe represents to you. Compassion, escape, exploitation, or some uncomfortable combination of all three. Thanks for watching.